These photos and videos look totally normal, but have disturbing backstories, with this photo being one of the scariest. On February 26, 2015, 17-year-old Dalen Pua from Hawaii went on a hike, but after setting out, was never seen again. Days prior, Dalen had told his friends and family about the hike. They all warned Dalen that the hike was very dangerous and he shouldn't do it. The trail is known as the Haiku Stairs, consisting of 4,000 steps along the Ko'olau mountain range. The trail is very thin, and one wrong step can result in a 2,000-foot drop. Due to the danger, it's been illegal to hike this route since 1987. But despite all this, Dalen went anyway. At first, things seemed to be going okay. Dalen sent various photos to his family, but at around 11 AM, the images stopped, and Dalen never returned home. His family reported him missing, triggering a massive search along the mountain. After 5 days of searching, nothing was found, and the search was called off. At this point, Dalen's family looked at the last photo he'd sent them more clearly, and noticed something chilling. Down the hill is what seems like a man hiding in the bushes. Dalen disappeared shortly after this photo was taken, which led to many believing this man may be involved. Perhaps Dalen took this photo to scare the man off or record evidence. Some hikers also reported hearing screams of help, just one day before the search was called off. Years on, Dalen's disappearance remains unexplained. Although the official search was called off, the area has been searched many times over the years, with no trace of Dalen ever being found, which is why many believe this man may have something to do with Dalen's disappearance. The Honolulu police put out an alert asking the man to come forward, but no one ever did, meaning this man's identity, as well as what happened to Dalen Pua, remains unexplained. But an even more disturbing thing caught on camera is this. On February 21st, 2018, 12-year-old Michelita Robbers was at her home in Dallas. She had been recording some videos on her phone for fun, sharing her excitement for a cheerleading event she had later that day.
I'm gonna get ready for the NCA, National Cheerleaders Association, today. I went ahead and connected my straightener, and I still have to connect the curling iron.
After this, Michelita would make a time-lapse as she got ready. The first few seconds seemed totally normal, until one frame when the camera goes dark. If we slow the time-lapse down, you can see sparks appear before the video goes black. It's impossible to tell from the time-lapse, but Michelita had caught a gas leak explosion on video, an explosion that would end her life and injure her parents and brother. The explosion had destroyed their house, causing the roof to cave in. A lawsuit was later filed against Atmos Energy, who had been in the neighborhood replacing pipes when the explosion took place. It's incredibly eerie watching this video, knowing what will happen just minutes later. But something equally eerie is this photo, showing Dutch students Chris Kremers and Lisanne Froon. In 2014, the pair had traveled to Panama, planning to go hiking and volunteering on their trip. Looking at photos found on the girls' camera, you would assume their trip went great. But that was not at all the case. One morning, the girls had taken the family's dog on a walk in the forest, but that evening, the dog returned home without the girls. The worried family immediately called police, but despite a big search, no trace of the girls was found. That was until 10 weeks later. A local woman had found a backpack along the banks of a nearby river. Inside were both of the girls' cell phones, as well as the girls' camera, and what police found on the phones and camera was incredibly disturbing. They had tried to make 77 phone calls to police, but due to the dense jungle, none of these calls went through. But what they found on the camera was even worse. The photos from the day start with the girls happy on their hike, but as the day went on, the girls' expressions got more serious. But the final photos on the camera were what shocked police the most. They were taken between 1 and 4 AM, 7 days after the girls had first set out. One photo shows what appears to be a makeshift marker. There are also many random images of the forest, and the back of Chris's head. Fearing the worst, police searched the area the backpack was found in, and in the area, both girls' bones were found, as well as Chris's clothing, which had been neatly folded up. Who had folded them is unknown. Another bizarre thing is Chris's bones. While Lisanne's bones had decomposed, Chris's were a bright white color, as if they'd been bleached or tampered with in some way. To this day, the case remains a total mystery. The photos are also unexplained. Some believe the girls may have been trying to use the camera flash as a flashlight. The girls may have simply got lost in the dense forest, but this doesn't explain Chris's folded clothes or her bleached bones. Another sinister fact fact is one of the images was deleted from the camera. We know this because the camera numbered every photo. If someone was behind the girl's disappearance, maybe they deleted the photo. But exactly what happened to these two missing girls remains eerily unexplained. Another photo with an incredibly dark backstory is this. It was taken in 2003 and shows two brothers, Kevin and Bart Whitaker. But shortly after this photo was taken, Bart would betray his family in the most evil way possible. Bart had told his family that he had graduated university. To celebrate, him and his wealthy family went out to dinner, and even gifted Bart a Rolex, before returning to their home in the upper-class town of Sugar Land, Texas. However, when the family arrived home, they were met by two armed assailants. The armed burglars shot Bart's brother Kevin, as well as their parents. Both Kevin and Bart's mother passed away. However, despite being shot, Bart's father survived. At first, Bart was seen as a hero, as he had tried to fight off the armed burglars. But disturbingly, it was later found out this was all an act, and instead, Bart was behind the whole thing. Bart had actually arranged for his two friends, Chris and Steven, to end the life of his entire family, making it seem like a burglary gone wrong. Despite Bart's parents already gifting him a Rolex and various cars, he knew that he would inherit about $1.5 million if his parents passed away. While his family were at this dinner, he knew full well that his two friends were in their house armed. When the family arrived home, Bart pretended he'd left his cell phone in the car, hanging back so his whole family would be taken out. He then played the hero, pretending to struggle with the armed men. But the truth later came out. Bart had not graduated from university. In fact, he'd never even attended. Eventually, one of Bart's friends who was the gunman was caught, and revealed everything to the police. Bart, as well as his two accomplices, were later given life in prison. Just imagine how Bart's father felt knowing his own son had done this. It's so unsettling to see Bart smiling in these photos, knowing full well what he had planned for his family. Another seemingly normal photo with a haunting backstory is this. The photo shows various cars in a commuter parking lot in New York. Exactly why it's so disturbing makes more sense when I tell you the date the photo was taken. That was September 12, 2001, one day after the Twin Towers came down. These are the cars of people who commuted from New Jersey into New York, but sadly never made it out. It's very eerie to know that for every one of these cars, at least one person passed away. Another incredibly haunting photo is this. The image comes from a trail camera and shows 75-year-old Wesley still smoking. On the 12th of October 2018, he went on a hike, but then vanished and was never seen again. A gigantic search was launched, but their efforts proved futile. 1 month later, his car was found, but Wesley was still nowhere to be found. That was until nearly 4 years later in March of 2022. Wesley's remains were found in a remote wooded area, but what happened to him remains unknown. It's very unsettling to look at this photo, knowing what fate Wesley was walking into. Some believe he simply went hiking and got lost, but this makes little sense. Wesley knew the area very well, and would not walk that far into the woods by himself. Exactly what happened to Wesley still smoking, and whether or not anyone else was involved, remains unexplained. An even more disturbing photo was taken in 2004 in Thailand. The people in this photo had no idea that soon around 230,000 people would lose their lives. Behind them, a huge wave is about to hit the shore, which would mark the beginning of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, one of the most deadly tsunamis of all time. 1.7 million people were displaced, and $13 billion in damages were caused, affecting Thailand, Indonesia, Sri Lanka, the Maldives, Singapore, and India. Some people in the photo can clearly see what's coming, while others appear blissfully unaware. Another photo with a very haunting backstory is this. The photo shows Essa Ricker and Kelsey Webster, both 15, as well as Kelsey's younger sister Savannah, who was 13. The girls had been hiking in Utah in October 2011. That was when the girls stumbled across a railway track. The girls then saw a train approaching and decided to take a fun selfie. Savannah took the photo and then immediately posted it to Facebook. But this would be the last post Savannah would ever make. The train passing behind them was so loud they failed to notice the second train coming towards them from the opposite direction. Those on board the train saw the girls for about 12 seconds. They honked the horn and yelled at the girls, but it was no use. The other train was so loud they simply couldn't hear. They tried to slow down, but trains can take over a mile to fully stop, meaning that these girls had no hope. The haunting thing is, you can see the train's headlights in the top right corner, making this a truly sad and scary photo. Another seemingly normal photo with a scary backstory is this. The boy on the right is 17-year-old Tyler Hadley, who had been throwing a house party at his own own house in Florida. The guests had no idea that just hours before this photo, Tyler had ended his parents' lives, hitting his father, Blake, and his mother, Mary Jo, with a hammer. He then stole his parents' credit cards and threw a house party. During the party, Tyler told several people what he'd done, but no one believed him, until one of Tyler's friends named Michael went into Tyler's parents' bedroom. Surprisingly, after seeing the bodies, Michael did not leave the party, instead taking this selfie with Tyler. 4 hours later, Michael left and called the police. Tyler was soon arrested and given a life sentence. In prison, he showed zero remorse, signing autographs saying, "It's hammer time" for fellow inmates. It's a truly eerie photo that seems normal, but looking again at the photo, you can see the darkness in Tyler's eyes. Another very eerie photo is this. It shows 18-year-old Jolie Callan on a hike. This would be the last photo ever taken of Jolie. A few days prior, Jolie's ex-boyfriend, Lauren Bunner, had texted Jolie asking her to go on a hike near to where they lived in Alabama. Jolie wanted to remain friends, so agreed, and jokingly sent a text to her friend the evening before, saying, "If something happens to me, you'll know who I was with." But Jolie's joke wasn't so funny after what happened on the hike. Her ex-boyfriend Lauren took her life, and then pushed her off a cliff. Before Lauren did this, he took various photos, with this one being the very last. After the incident, he even posted these photos on Instagram, before turning himself in to the police. When asked why he did this, Lauren said that if he couldn't have her, no one could. Lauren was later sentenced to 52 years behind bars. But these eerie photos remain unsettling to this day, with Jolie completely oblivious as to what was about to happen. Which of these photos was the scariest? Tell me in the comments down below. Subscribe if you haven't yet and check out this video next. I think you'll find it even crazier than this.